Hey, everybody. It's a little later in the day than I normally hop on live, but I've been so busy this morning, you guys, answering calls, taking information. But look, I want to talk today about cravings. We've talked about weight loss, we've talked about heart problems, we've talked about PCOS, talked about joints. We'll continue to talk about some of those. But one of the things that most of you guys are struggling with, one of the things you can't seem to get under control, and it was true for me too, is uncontrollable cravings. Messages are coming in already. So, you guys, I want to talk about why it's not your fault, how you can get better from it, how you can start to take control of your life again and get off of this roller coaster of sugary snacks. Like for me, it was Snickers, Reese's cups, salt and vinegar potato chips, and Diet Pepsi. Right? Like we all have something that we're reaching for because we're having constant cravings. Um, but when you start to understand that it's not your fault, it's the food that we've been given that causes this problem, that's causing these cravings. It's how we've been taught to eat that's causing these problems. You don't have to live with them anymore. You don't have to wake up in the morning and feel tired and like you got to grab something to get energy, that coffee, that bagel, that donut, whatever you're having in the morning. It's absolutely unnecessary. And even if you don't think that could apply to you right now, I'm going to talk to you about why. We're going to come back at 3 p.m. this afternoon. I'm going to break down the science of it. But this morning, I just want to kind of address the fact that why you're having cravings isn't what you think. It's not that you're broken or you're weak or you just can't control yourself. There's actually physiological stuff going on inside of you that's causing you to have those cravings. And again, I'll dive deeper into that later today. But what I'm talking about is, that feeling when you just can't say no to sweets, even though you told yourself you would. Anybody feel like that? Like I've had those moments. Like I used to crave chocolate all the time. Like, and part of the chocolate, by the way, is the theobromine in it that makes you feel good and happy. But do you guys feel like that? Like there's just times in the day, whether it's early in the morning or in the afternoon when you start to feel an energy slump, that you're having these cravings that you can't seem to control no matter how much you say, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. A few minutes later, a few hours later, you're grabbing back for all those same snacks and foods that you were craving because it just seems impossible to overcome. But what I want you to understand is that this frustration and the cravings that you're feeling, if you can understand that insulin, a hormone that's created by the food environment, is out of control because of the food environment we have today, that insulin hormone is a big piece of why you're having these cravings and you can't seem to get control of it. That hormone is driving you to be more hungry. It's shutting down your satiety levels in your body. It's increasing the need for more sugary, salty sweets. And so if you understand that it's not your fault, but if you understand what you can do to start taking care of it, that's going to be important in you being able to move forward. I forgot to open up the chat over here. Sorry, you guys, I'm on multiple live streams. Hey, Mike. Okay, so don't understand all of what was being said over there. So we'll just skip past that. Mateo, what's your problem? Let me know what the problem is. And I'm not a doctor, you guys. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just a person like you guys who suffered and wasn't getting answers, just like you guys. And then I started figuring it out. And so I'm here sharing it. But if you tell me what the problem is, I may, because of the research and the doctors that I've leaned on for information, be able to help give you answers. Okay, so just you got to let me know what it is. All right. So understand that I've been there too. I remember a point in time when it felt like I was constantly eating. And to top it off, we have a society that's telling us eat every 2 hours. How many of you guys have heard these influencers telling you you got to eat every 2 hours, you got to eat smaller meals, and then don't eat all the fats. You got to balance it out with all these carbs, and that's how you're going to control your hunger and cravings. According to metabolic scientists, that's exactly the wrong thing to do. So we're being set up. When you're eating every 2 hours, you're increasing your insulin all the time, and that's making you be hungry all the time. And I look like a doctor. That's a really good compliment. Thank you. I mean, you know, let's, I appreciate that. So, all right, let's get back to it. So, no matter how much I tried, no matter how much willpower, I was an athlete, I was training 3 hours a day, but I was under a lot of stress. Cortisol, by the way, increases your hunger too. So, you got to de stress your life a little. But I just couldn't seem to get control of my cravings. How many of you guys feel like I was feeling where you'd sit at your desk? I have a different desk now. I have a desk in my own home. But you sit at your desk and like for me, I was working in medical. So I'm charting and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm like, damn it, I'm hungry. I can't seem to focus. I need something. So in many of the nurses and medical assistants around me were drinking Red Bulls or Bang Energies or whatever to try and keep their energy up so they could focus and make it through the day and get all the charting done and do all the stuff that the doctor wants them to do and all this. So how many of you guys sit at your office or at your desk or at your workspace and feel like I'm hungry? I need energy. It's like 3 p.m. And I don't know how I'm going to make it to that 5 o'clock time. I've got to eat something because most of us are suffering with that. And I'm telling you, it's insulin and the food that we're eating that's driving the insulin to be high. So just understand I've been there too. I struggled with all the same things. I have it under control now by understanding these principles. But you've probably, if you're like me, also tried all kinds of solutions. How many of you guys have heard all of the supplements, all of the stuff? If you do this, it's going to shut down your hunger. If you do that, you won't have cravings. If you take this one simple, like I had yesterday, somebody asking about turmeric or berberine, all this stuff. And I've even had people say to me, I've tried everything. I'm not trying anything else. If that's you, you're in the right spot because that's exactly where I was, feeling like I had tried everything, nothing was working, and I was desperate for help because I knew something was wrong, but I just didn't know what was wrong. And guess what? Working in those doctors' offices for years, I worked for allergist, I worked for infectious disease, I worked for hormone clinic, I worked in urgent care. Not one practitioner, and I worked with a gym bro who was coaching uh, power lifters and bodybuilders, and he wrote all this programming for me. He was sure he was going to get it under control. Nobody had answers. Now, one person talked to me about insulin resistance and how to get that under control. I did keto. I did veganism. I did the medical medium. I did all this stuff. I tried all these supplements. I can't remember how many books I read, and they were like, oh, just take this supplement. Oh, just take this piece. Oh, just take that piece, and it's going to get better for you. If you guys are there, hear me out because it doesn't have to be that difficult and it doesn't have to be that hard. So we eat low glycemic index food. That can help, but what if just so number one, here's my thing with those kind of suggestions. How many of you guys know what a low glycemic food is? When we say low glycemic or high glycemic, how many of you guys know what that means? If you don't know what it means and you don't know where to find the information and you don't know how to implement that, how are you going to get better? Right? And those are some of the solutions people are giving us. Like, oh, just go carnivore or just go vegan. Oh, just eat low glycemic. And some of those things can be really great advice. But if you can't sustain it in your own life, it's not going to work for you. Right? What I want is for people to find something that's sustainable and easy. And that's what I did. So I'm going to get into that in a minute. You're craving right now. Oh, wrong kind of craving. Okay. So understand that insulin is driving this. Insulin is caused by the foods we're eating, and it's not just the low glycemic foods are higher in fiber and lower in glucose. That's why they're low glycemic. They don't spike your blood sugar as high. But what if you don't know what all those foods are? What if some of the foods you absolutely love and eat every day and sustain your family with are not low glycemic and you don't understand how to control that? You need help, right? That's why I'm here. So we've gone over all these solutions, diets, pills, so keto, carnivore, vegan, low glycemic, eating every 2 hours, all the supplements you can take. And I'm not bashing supplements because our food is so defunct right now that we are not getting in the nutrition that we need from the food we're eating, and that's part of the problem. So, let me just, you know what, you guys? I've got to learn to do this more often. So when people make offhand comments, I get they're trying to be cute, but this is not the time and place for it. So block, block. You're done. Don't be coming in here and being a doofus. Okay. So let's get back to it. If you can understand that the food we're eating is actually driving the cravings we're having because of insulin resistance, but you're like, okay, that's fine, but so how do I reverse that? What most people don't realize is that those cravings and energy crashes are linking to something much deeper, this insulin problem. And how you address it, one of the ways is getting in extra fiber and making sure your body is getting the energy it needs. Fiber controls glucose, and most of us are defunct in fiber. You guys, YouTube is freaking wild. I'm really happy that I'm getting more attention on YouTube, but some of the people over there, I thought TikTok was bad. YouTube is horrible. Okay, so if you realize that insulin is the problem, and that the food is the problem driving the insulin problem, and that our food is defunct and missing things. And what we have to understand is that we just need to add some things back, right? It doesn't mean you can't have tortillas. It doesn't mean you can't have a piece of cake once in a while, or that you can't have that. Somebody said the other day, can I have a cookie after my healthy meal? Yeah, you can. But the big clue to that is fiber, right? Fiber. So you hear the glucose goddess talk about it. She talks about a veggie starter, and why she talks about a veggie starter is the fiber in the vegetables. But not everybody knows what kind of vegetables to eat to get the right kinds of fiber to stunt the glucose that we're getting in throughout the meal, whether it's pasta, potatoes, the breads you eat. And let's talk about that for a second. How many restaurants have you gone to and they give you bread at the start of the meal? Do you know why they give you bread at the start of the meal? Devout Lutheran. I grew up Lutheran. I was in the Lutheran church 5 to 7 days a week when I was a kid. Good to see you in here. The bread is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate creates energy. And you'd think, okay, well, it's bread. It's got some fiber in it, right? Not necessarily. The way that they processed our flour today means there's less fiber in those grains than there used to be, but we're getting the full effect of the carbohydrates from it. So yes, fiber is a clue, but understanding what kind of fiber and how much fiber is key. And you don't have to like I've given talks on the fact that we're all only getting in about 15 grams of fiber and we should be getting about 30. That's helpful, but most of us, that's overwhelming. I don't know how to calculate all that. Like if you're like me, I've already got enough stuff. I woke up and one of my morning prayers was today, Lord, let me figure out how to do this last part of my life. I'm 61. I don't want to start over again. I don't want to have to learn. I love learning, but dude, don't take me down a completely new path. Like I'm already still overwhelmed by all the learning I'm doing. So most of you guys don't need to have all this excess information. You just need a real solution, right? Is insulin analog still need to use in an adjunct to eating more fiber? So let's pause before I get into the solution that I have, because I want to answer that question. So if you have an insulin problem, stunting the insulin is actually the solution, right? One of the solutions we're being given traditionally with diabetic care is to add more insulin. And I'm talking diabetic type 2, not diabetic type 1. So add more insulin because we need more insulin to help with the sugar problem, right? No, we don't. We need our body to understand that it doesn't need as much sugar. We need insulin to act right. And so the analogy is if a person is already defunct with insulin, meaning they're getting in too much insulin, so much so that it's causing their body to be resistant to it, why in the heck would we ever add more into it? It's like taking an alcoholic and saying, oh, we're going to rehab you. We're going to rehab you. Going through withdrawals, here's a half rack. Go drink that. You'll feel better. That's what insulin is doing to us. It's not fixing the problem. It's masking the problem, but it's actually making the problem worse along the way when you're type 2 diabetic and you're being given insulin. Now, I want to clarify. This is not my information. This is coming from doctors like Dr. Benjamin Bickman, who wrote this book. He's one of the top metabolic scientists in the world. He's educating diabetes doctors around the world, and this is what he tells them. When you give a diabetic type 2 insulin, you're making them sicker quicker, you're making them fatter quicker, and you're killing them quicker. Why is this still a therapy? Why are we still having this as a therapy? We shouldn't, but we do. So we've got to find a better way. What I want to talk to you about is the protocol that I found 4 years ago. I'm going to give you this answer, and we're going to get back into the talk. 4 years ago, I found two products, two real food products that are, you could call them a supplement, but what they are is nutrition that's giving my body back what it needs. So there's a tea, a highly concentrated tea that I drink every morning, and I sip on this throughout the day. This is 40 ounces, 2 teas mixed up in here. By the time 3 o'clock or so rolls around, I will have drank this. Yesterday, I had 3 of them. We have it in a couple of different flavors. It tastes great. No added sugars, no aspartame, none of that. It's a highly concentrated yerba mate tea, stevia, and some flavor, natural flavor. No artificial colors, none of the stuff that you guys want to keep out of your system. Plus, it's been purified, so all the toxins, pesticides, microplastics, all the stuff you hear about has been removed. No other product allows that in something that's supporting your body. Plus, it's in the PDR. And then the second component is this pre-meal drink that I have that's 7 different fibers that help with blood sugar regulation, and both products help with heart. So blood pressure control. Too low, it will help your heart start working properly to function in a more normal manner. Too high, it can help bring that down over time, not immediately. Oh, so giving insulin is really just trying to, got some questions over here. She said it's so it's like to prevent other complications from type 2 diabetes mellitus, same thing, type 2 or diabetes mellitus, but doesn't fix the actual problem. Actually, no, it doesn't, because the problem is that you have too much insulin. The problem is that too much insulin has shut your cells down from being able to use the energy that's coming in your body. Adding more insulin is not fixing the fact that the receptors for it are not working right. Okay. So it's not a fix in any way. It's not. It can maybe temporarily start to bring down your A1C and your blood glucose, but at what cost? Because then you're continually taking more and more and more. And then eventually you end up like a type 1 diabetic where your pancreas just doesn't produce insulin. It's not a good solution. It's not really a solution at all. So, okay. Now, so this solution that I'm talking about, by the way, you can just get it in my profile link. We're gonna round back to that. I'll talk more about it at the end. But you guys, before you do anything with the link, I want you to understand I have a new landing page. It allows you to either just order the product once you understand what it is. It allows you to have further conversation with me, or it allows you to say, hey, this doesn't seem like it's for me. Whatever, I want it to be right for you. But understand that when you buy from someplace like eBay, Walmart, or other coaches, you want to know that the person that you're buying from can support you, can actually help you, and that they're going to be there for you. Amazon, eBay, Walmart, number one, you're not getting any of the guarantees. You're not getting anything with, and you're paying more. You're not getting a coach. You're not getting all the other help. So let's get back into it. Cravings, 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 cravings. I want to ask, have you been feeling stuck with cravings? Like nothing's working. You're just going around in circles and you don't have any control. And I get that, because that's how I was feeling. And that's what cravings can do to you. But I have people who have told me the same thing. I have these uncontrollable cravings. There's no way this can work. I have to have a snack every afternoon. I have breakthrough cravings. There's no way this can work. And on day one, I've had customers call me back and say, what is this stuff? Because I haven't even thought about food today. And I have crazy amounts of energy like I normally don't have. So if you could add in food in a supplement form to your body that's nourishing it and giving you that kind of feeling instead of waking up feeling tired, waking up feeling like you've got to have more snacks or more sugar or whatever to grab your energy, or that, like I know people who are stuck on Red Bulls or whatnot for their energy throughout the day. And one of them is someone I know very closely and love. Won't listen to me, but that's okay. Not everybody does. But she went from a thick but beautiful girl to, like, people are asking her if she's pregnant and when she's due. And a big reason is she's drinking those Red Bulls all the time to get energy. But what she's not realizing is that that quick fix for energy is driving her insulin up, creating more need for more energy. And now her body is storing way more fat than it should because she's getting in way more than her cells could actually even use. They're just not getting it because insulin is impeding it. Insulin resistance happens when we overload our body with sugar. And then it just creates more and more craving. A couple of reasons why it creates craving, and I'm going to go over this afternoon in just a couple of hours. But it creates craving because you're creating a negative gut microbiome, yeast and whatnot in your gut, and you're not getting energy into the cells, so your body perceives that it needs energy. The negative microbiome that feeds on sugar. So when it starts to take control, it's going to tell you to eat more and more of it because it wants to thrive, it wants to grow. The second way, you're not getting the energy into your cells that you need, so your body perceives that you're tired. By the way, how many of you guys feel like, I used to say this, I am so tired. It feels like somebody stuck a vacuum cleaner to my belly button and sucked out all the energy, and it just hurts to even get up and move. I'm so tired. Like, just body wide, I'm tired. I don't know how to fix it. And you think that a Bang Energy, a candy bar, a protein bar, a something is going to rescue you, and it may for a moment, but then all of a sudden you're tired again. That's the insulin resistance cycle, and that's what happens when you're overloading your body with all of this sugar. Hey, Deepak, it's so good to see somebody from India. Because I love when we have this international group going on. Thanks for joining my live, Deepak. Thank you. Okay, so you guys, just know it doesn't have to be that way. If you feel like you're waking up and already tired when you wake up, already wanting to reach for, 4 or 5 cups of coffee. My son drinks a huge cup of coffee every morning. Can I talk about coffee for a second? I am not bashing coffee, but I want you to understand something, that coffee, and I was educating my son about this last week. Coffee has high amounts of caffeine, right? We all know that. But what you don't know is that there's molds, there's pesticides, other toxins, and microplastics in a lot of that coffee that you're drinking, unless you have a coffee with a guarantee that all of that's been removed. So in order to get that energy and the benefits of what's good about coffee, you're getting all this crap too. So now with the tea that I drink, it's been purified, all of that's been removed, but there's other components in it, we'll get into that this afternoon, that help balance out that caffeine. That's why we get energy without crashes. How many of you guys, I was around so many athletes that would just crush Bang Energies for their workout, like pre-workouts and all this stuff all the time. What if you didn't need all of that? What if your body could just give you the energy it needs without feeling all the crashes and waking up tired and not being able to sleep at night because you're just getting in natural sources? So Bitopia. I don't know what your purpose is. You could clarify your comments by telling me what your purpose is in the comments you've made. That would help us all who are watching this to understand what you're saying. Why don't you do that for me, and then I'll answer your questions. Okay. So again, insulin is causing this. You don't have to feel it. It's not your fault. I don't care whether you're 6 years old or 90 years old. More and more of us are feeling these cravings and energy slumps than ever before. And it has to do with the food we have today and it causing insulin resistance. So know that I was stuck in that cycle for years, even as an athlete. Like, I bought into the pre-workout stuff too. I always look back now, and if I was still competing, I wish I would have had these products then. The tea is an amazing pre-workout without all the damage. It can increase strength and endurance by 10 to 15%. It can increase performance by 10 to 15%. naturally without ever causing a problem with a drug test. And I was in a drug tested federation. Um, that would have been helpful to me. A strength increase of 10 to 15%, the numbers that I had at world championships, if I added 10% to those numbers, wow. I mean, I won every championship I was at, but that would have been crazy good, right? Um, but this is what this does. Insulin doesn't do that for you. Those injections that people are doing for weight loss to help keep them feeling full so they're not eating so much doesn't do any of that for them. It's not giving them the energy. It's not giving them this part where your body, your muscles are actually getting in nutrients and growing normally. It actually, those some of those solutions that you're seeing all over are causing your lean tissue in your body to deplete. Up to 40% of the weight loss that happens with those can be from muscle tissue. It's easy to lose it, not as easy to get it back, especially as you get older. So understand that. But with this system, these two products, you can get your energy back naturally by getting nutrients into your system, by helping your body recognize the nutrients that it has, take up the energy that you're getting, and now you start to not have those energy crashes, those energy slumps. I don't have those anymore. I used to be laid out on the couch by 3 o'clock in the afternoon because my body hurt. It was so tired. I would get goosebumps after I ate, and nobody could explain it. I would ask my doctors what's going on. Nobody explained it. Nobody could tell me, right? I'm telling you now, if you're having any of those symptoms, that's insulin resistance. Insulin resistance. And I'm going to go over insulin resistance at 3. I'm going to go over why it's creating your cravings more in depth. I'm going to talk about all of that because some people want all the science, some people don't. But is understand your cravings are driven by insulin resistance more often than not. And if you can understand that piece and start to get control of this hormone insulin in your body and get it to act right, the cravings start to go away. That need for excess food goes away. The energy slumps go away. And you start to have more normal energy. And not only that, mental clarity and better mood. You start to just feel better about life. Because when you're having those cravings and that energy slump, some of the other things that are happening are you just start to feel more depressed. When you're hurting and you're tired all the time, it's hard not to feel depressed. When you can relieve that without pills and injections, and you can do it by supporting your body with nutrition, you'd be amazed at how good you can feel and how good life can feel and how much happy you are. You know, all the people talking about gratitude exercises. I used to do subconscious reprogramming and life coaching and stuff. You talk about all these affirmations and um, come on, just being gracious, gratitude. And I believe in all of that. But how hard is it to feel grateful for your life when you're constantly tired, you're constantly in pain, you're having cravings that you can't control? People are looking at you like it's your fault. If you were just a better, stronger person, you would be doing better. If you didn't have to deal with any of that because you understood what was really happening and had a simple way to address it, how would that change your life? Because that's what this does. So, you guys, I know that I hopped on late. I'm going to hop off because I have a few calls to hop on, and I'm going to get ready for the more in-depth talk this afternoon about insulin resistance. I'm going to explain how it happens. I'm going to explain why fasting works for it. I'm going to explain why physiologically in your body you're having these cravings, why you're having these energy slumps, and why what I'm doing actually helps. Instead of just masking it, it actually builds strength from the inside out. So if you want to know more about the other side of it, not just the I feel tired, I've been there too. If you want to know more, join me back right here at 3 p.m. because we're going to talk about it. And I love serving you guys in this way. Remember, if you're interested in the protocol, please use the link in my bio. I'll type it in over here on the other channels. And either, schedule a time when we can just sit down and chat. I'm not a high pressure person. Sorry, Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, you guys. I forget to say that. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 2 p.m. Central. I know it's kind of close together. I went live a little bit later this morning than normal because I was answering a ton of questions and calls. But 3 p.m. is when I'm doing my sciencey talks, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, and noon Pacific time. If you're in another country, you're going to have to use a time calculator for that. But 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be back and we'll talk about the science and why this is happening to you so you can understand why this is really the answer, why those other things are not really helping you. Okay, we'll see you guys then. Use the link, check it out, read about it, and then come back and listen some more. The big thing is I want you to be able to take care of your health, feel strong and healthy again, and do it when you're ready. But I want you to know that right now is the best time. You guys, I'm glad I started when I did. We'll see you later. Thanks, guys. I shut this off.